All right, Reese, I got to admit there's some funny stuff going on here. I was trying to verify or recreate your situation with the operator and all that. I started out with an operator and I put it in an instrument rack just to make sure that I was adding as much crap in there as I could, and then just created a simple little MIDI pattern. So far, so good. And then I took a second audio track, I put an audio effect rack on it, and in the first chain of the effect rack, I put a utility to flip the phase, and then I put an EQ8 just to see if the signals would null. And indeed they do. It works just fine. So the next thing that I did is I created these two tracks down here. Oh, I put a second chain in the effect rack that has nothing in it. And then just to make sure that the within the effects rack itself that the two different chains would null each other out, and indeed they do. If I start messing around with this EQ, comes out a null, but if we reset the gain, it actually goes right back in. And that's the case for multiple bands as well as single bands. But as soon as we start messing with the gain, obviously they don't null each other out. So I created two more tracks here. One of them is monitoring the post effects output of the first chain, and the other one is monitoring the post effects output of the second chain. And I did that in order to make sure that they would still null each other out. And indeed they do. So far, so good. But what was really funky is I started recording and printing these audio files to the session slots. And the first one I made was 1 bar long, and the second one I inadvertently made it a 2-bar loop. I didn't catch it in time, and I noticed that when I played them back, there's a funky-ass little non-null thing happening the very first time through the 2-bar loop, but then it goes away. There's only one warp marker. It's not supposed to be doing anything. So what the hell is it doing? I've never seen anything like that. So I would like an answer for that. That is definitely not supposed to happen. And then while I had this up, I started messing around with the algorithms for the warping. And I had always assumed, and I think it even said in an older version of the Ableton manual, that if there's only a single warp marker and nothing else, and the transpose is at 0, that none of the algorithms would be doing anything to the signal. And so indeed it works with beats. With tones, it works just fine. It takes a one time through the loop to catch up. Texture, it works just fine, and repitch just works fine. But Complex and Complex Pro, there is some funky stuff happening, even though there is a single warp marker and no transposition happening here. And it's in high quality mode. I can't figure out why in the world that would be happening. That should not be happening. Complex Pro as well is even worse. You can hear it kind of smears that transient at the beginning of the loop. So Ableton, you tell me what is going on there. That is definitely not supposed to happen.